Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. This is the start of another reading vlog. Okay, so full disclosure, it's been 2.5 weeks since I ended my last reading vlog, so I completely missed a check-in. I mentioned at the end of my last reading vlog that I was about to go on a trip, and then after I got back from that trip, a couple days later, I had a friend come into town and visit me for like almost a week, and I meant to film in the couple days between those things, but it didn't happen. And now here we are, it's been 2.5 weeks. So I think I'm just gonna do a one check-in reading vlog. I haven't really done that, but I feel like I've read, I don't know, a medium amount over the last couple weeks, but I feel like it's enough for me to just talk and post. But I did take some fun video clips of the trip that I took. The friend that I went to go visit lives in northern Washington, and if you guys know anything about northern Washington, it's beautiful. So I have some like outdoorsy scenes from like walks and stuff that we did. So I am gonna include a life clip section. I might have a few other random life clips to include, but I'm gonna do that now, and then I will come back and I'll talk about the things that I've read over the last 2.5 weeks. Joey, what are you doing? What are you doing in there? Hi. This is so cool. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed those little vlog clips. I was so lucky to have beautiful weather when I was up in northern Washington, because this time of year it can be really hit or miss with the weather, but I was there during a week of sunshine, which is like not that common at this time of year, and the weather was just perfect. It was not too cold, not too hot, and I had a really good time seeing my friend. I actually did do a decent amount of reading that week because when I travel, I tend to read a lot on travel days, and I managed to read a little bit every night before I went to bed while I was visiting my friend. But then the following week, so like last week, when I had a friend visiting me, I didn't read anything, hardly. So most of the reading that I got done was definitely in the first part of my last 2 weeks. Also, I just want to throw out there, the last bump clip that you saw in that life clip section is from today. I wanted to include that because since I haven't filmed in 2.5 weeks, I haven't taken any bump shots. And for anyone who is curious, I am at the time of filming 26 weeks in a couple days. So I'm in the last week of my second trimester. I should probably film a second trimester update soon. So for those of you who are interested, I know not everyone is, that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. Also, one more thing before I get into the reading update. When my friend visited me last week, she was here the day that the Shadow and Bone adaptation came out, and she's read the series. So we binged all 8 episodes in one day, and it was such a fun day, and I had so much fun not only binging the series, but having someone to talk about it with who, you know, is also a fan of the books. I believe before you see this video, I will have a like little chat about the show out, so I will link that for you if you guys are interested. But I just want to say I loved the adaptation. So excited for the next season. I think they did a really good job. I just absolutely loved watching Shadow and Bone last week. Okay, reading updates. So When I ended my last reading vlog, one of the things I talked about was The Toll by Neil Shusterman, and I mentioned that that book was kind of going on the back burner because I was doing it as a buddy read with my husband and I knew I was going to be busy for a couple of weeks. So no progress on that. I had kind of wanted to finish it before the end of the month, but I've got like 2 days left at the end of the month, and that is not going to happen, which is totally fine. I will finish it in May. I'm about 35% through that though. And then the other book that I was in the middle of at the end of my last reading vlog was Jade City by Fonda Lee. I was about 20% into that and I have finished it. That is what I mostly read while I was in Washington visiting my friend. And I ended up giving it a 4-star rating. I did enjoy it. It wasn't quite a 5-star, just didn't give me, you know, those 5-star feelings. But I thought it was a pretty good book. There were a lot of things that I liked about it, and I'm definitely interested enough to read the sequel, which I've heard from a few people that they enjoyed the sequel more than the original, so that does make me excited. I think honestly the main reason why that I didn't love this book maybe as much as some other people is kind of a genre mismatch. I just am not as big of a fan of urban fantasy as I am of high fantasy. It just doesn't quite get my goat the same way for some reason. So Jade City is often pitched as like fantasy Godfather. There's a lot of like gang politics. There's 2 main gangs, and it's like an Asian-inspired fantasy where people get magical powers by the amount of jade that they are wearing. And I found the magic system like interesting. It's definitely pretty loosely defined, and when you're wearing jade or whatever jade you have, it basically like enhances your senses, makes you stronger, kind of like gave me a superhero sort of vibe. There's also some people who like can't handle jade. Actually, there's only one group of people that are native born to the city that this story takes place in that like can use jade without going crazy and things like that. So all of that was really interesting. The gang politics was fairly interesting, but just like not as interesting to me as like royalty politics, I guess. There's something that happened at the midpoint of the story that definitely surprised me and I wasn't expecting. And there were a few things about the ending that I don't know, I had mixed feelings about the ending. I kind of wish there were a few things that the author had chosen to do differently. Like, you know, there was a choice the author made and I wish that the author had done something different. So like there was just a few things that I was like, I guess that's cool, but not what I would have wanted to see play out in the story sort of thing. But overall, I enjoyed the story. There's a couple characters that I'm fairly invested in more than others, but I don't like absolutely love any of them, which, I mean, they're all kind of like morally gray characters anyways. So I had semi-mixed feelings, but mostly enjoyed the book. So I think it is maybe like a 3.5 that I'm rounding up to 4, but those are my overall basic thoughts. Oh, I also want to throw out there that I read this as my Patreon book club pick for April. We are going to be discussing this in early May, and I'm really excited to see what everybody else thought of it, especially because this month, because I was reading it while I was traveling, I wasn't quite as active in our Patreon book club Discord, where we usually like chat about the book as we go along. I didn't really do that too much, so I'm really excited to see what other people thought of the book whenever we meet to discuss it soon. So a book that I started recently is Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. It is the second book in the Live Ship Trader series. There is a read-along of the Live Ship Trader series going on right now, and the book that is being read in April is Mad Ship. I believe the live show for Mad Ship is on the 8th of May, which is why I haven't finished it yet because I feel like I have a little more time. I am about 15% into it, I believe, so not too far, but I am really enjoying it. It's been hard for me not to pick it up a lot because there's something else that is more priority than Mad Ship, which is the book I'll talk about next. But I'm really enjoying some of the world building reveals that we've already gotten. We've gotten a POV from a character that we hadn't met yet, that we had like heard about but not seen from their point of view. And I think this character is so interesting, and I'm really excited that that POV is going to be a part of the rest of this book. At least I'm pretty sure it will. So I'm really early in the book, but I am just like anticipating it, and I'm so excited to be continuing on in this series because I really loved the first one, and I think that I'm really gonna love the second one. I've heard from a few people that the second one, so this middle book in the trilogy, is their favorite of the trilogy, which just makes me so happy. And it's also like, it's always fun when you find that, because a lot of times, you know, series or trilogies will have middle book syndrome where like the middle book isn't that good. So it's kind of rare to find that the middle book is people's favorite out of a trilogy. For the Farseer trilogy, I don't know if this is a popular or unpopular opinion, but the middle book of that trilogy was also my favorite. So it'll be really interesting if this middle book ends up being my favorite of the trilogy too. And then the other book that is my current #1 priority that I have started is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I have it here behind me. I am about 25% through it. I've read this much. This is my priority book because this is the shelf space book for April. I had planned to like mad dash read it this week, but then we ended up pushing the live show date for the Shelf Space Book Club, which I'm the co-host for this book for April. We're not doing the live show until the second weekend in May, so I feel like I have a little more time to read it, so I haven't been reading it quite as much over the last couple of days, but I do need to pick up my pace because I need to finish this and have my thoughts together before the live stream. The live stream hasn't been totally set in stone yet. It is going to be the second weekend, but keep an eye out for an announcement from like Jessie, or if you follow the Instagram for Shelf Space, I know she'll announce it there as well. Or if you're in the Discord for Shelf Space, you'll see the announcement there once we totally finalize the date and time, but it will be that second weekend in May. And this, I have to say, I am enjoying. My very first impressions of this were like, oh my god, I think this might be a 5-star book, like I'm loving it. Now I'm like, I'm not really sure if it's gonna be 5 stars, but I am really enjoying it. I think the world is super interesting, the magic is really interesting. What I'm unsure about is that, so in this short amount of time, there have been a lot of like shocks and surprises, which at first I was really enjoying, but it's starting to get a little bit like convoluted and a little bit confusing. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the rug is constantly being pulled out from under me, and I don't know how much I love that. At first, I was like, oh, this is so awesome, like so many twists and turns and shocking moments. But when they are constantly happening, they start to kind of like lose their effect, you know? So I am still really enjoying it. I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. The main characters, they read a little young for me. I mean, I like YA, so that seems silly, but I just mean that they seem super naive, which isn't a total turnoff for me, but I don't know. I'm just a little wary of where the story's going now that I'm a little further in. A lot of people pitch this or like recommend it for people who are fans of Wheel of Time, which obviously, hello, that's me, and that's why I was really excited for that, and I see why it is recommended for people who are fans of Wheel of Time. Like, I can see a lot of inspiration, at least in like the naming of things, and it does seem to be a bit of a chosen one story. I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. But it also kind of strangely reminds me of the first book in the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. I've only read like, I don't know, a long time ago, I read like 3 or 4 books into that series. But you know how it's just a little bit campy? I think that's kind of what I'm picking up on that I'm unsure about. I don't know. I was really loving it at first, and now I'm having a little bit of reservations, but it's like way too early to tell. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, but I would say it's kind of like a mix between Wheel of Time and Sword of Truth, maybe? That might not hold true once I get further, but anyways, my point is, it's off to a good start. I'm very intrigued, and I'm really excited to be reading this for Shelf Space and to be discussing it with Jessie. This has been on my TBR for a while, so I'm glad I'm finally getting to it to see what the fuss is about. Okay guys, so I think this might be a vlog a little bit on the shorter side, which isn't the worst thing. But those are all the things that I have been reading over the last 2.5 weeks. The end of the month is coming up in a few days, and of the 3 things I'm in the middle of, I am nowhere close to finishing any of them. So that's a little disappointing that I won't be able to include any of the things that I'm in the middle of in my April wrap up. But what I am thinking is that I might read or listen to the next P. Djeli Clark novella, The Haunting of Tramcar 15, because it's like a 3-hour audiobook, so I can do that pretty quickly, and then maybe that way I can have one more thing to include in my April wrap-up. But my April wrap-up should be the next video that I put up, so you won't have to wait too long to see my thoughts on the books that I read in April, and hopefully I can include that novella so that there's at least one thing that you guys haven't already heard about for those of you who watch the reading vlogs. Hi, Toby. My sweet boy. Yes. Alright guys, oh, that's Toby. Well, I think that is all I have for now. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.